You have $12 million. My younger sister Lily said it loud enough to slice through the hum of 20 relatives chewing turkey. I looked up from the roasted Brussels sprouts I hadn't touched. She was standing at the head of the table, my laptop open in front of her fingers, hovering like she'd just stumbled onto a national secret. Except she hadn't stumbled. She'd barged into my old bedroom upstairs, said she needed a charger, and came back with more than voltage. The screen showed everything. My business dashboard, current contracts, total assets, quarterly reports. A clean 7-figure balance. All mine. Open exposed on Thanksgiving Day. I just needed to check my email, she added, glancing around the room with a smirk. And then I saw this. My family froze like they'd all bitten down on the same lemon. A couple gasps. My aunt placed her hand on her chest like someone had cursed during grace. My mother was the first to speak, tight laughter, awkward, brittle. Gabriella probably works for someone, she said, waving a hand. She's just helping them organize. Numbers. Right, sweetheart. I folded my napkin. No, that's my company. I'm Gabriella, 34. Oldest daughter, the quiet one. The one who everyone assumed was still figuring things out, while Lily, 6 years younger and 3 majors deep into college, was always the one with potential silence. Then Dad cleared his throat, cheeks already flushed. 12 million and you never said a word. We've been helping Lily with her tuition. For the last 2 years, I said I've been sending you $7,000 a month. Directly. For Lily. Lily's smile dropped. You what? She blinked. Why wouldn't you tell me? I didn't answer. I just stood up, walked to the end of the table and closed the laptop, because the truth wasn't for applause, it wasn't even for them. It was just time someone finally said it out loud. Lily didn't say anything else, just sat back down slowly as if the floor beneath her had shifted. No one picked up their forks. I slipped out to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. My hands were steady. They'd been trained that way. When I was 8, my mother stopped brushing my hair before her night shifts. That was the first thing I noticed. Then she stopped checking my homework, stopped looking me in the eye when she came home from the hospital. That was the year Lily was born. 2 months early. Tiny, fragile. The world shifted on its axis. Our house became a sterile zone, bleach in every room, air purifiers humming through the night. Any time I so much as sneezed, I was packed off to Grandma's like an uninvited guest. At first I thought it was special. Grandma made apple pie and let me stay up late reading books, but over time I understood. I was being kept away. I wasn't safe for Lily. She got the nursery with blackout curtains and white noise machines. I got the couch in Grandma's living room. I once brought home a perfect math test, 100% in red ink with a star at the top. I waited for Mom to put it on the fridge like she used to. She glanced at it, nodded, and asked if we had more tissues because Lily had a sniffle. That was the pattern. My achievements were background noise. Lily had ballet recitals. I walked home from debate tournaments alone. By 12, I'd stopped trying to impress them. I started saving my own money. Took a job cleaning trays at Sugar Pines Bakery. Downtown. Mrs. Lorraine. The owner never asked why a 7th grader wanted to mop floors after school. She just looked me in the eye and said, "Hard work always has a place." She was the first person who saw me, not as Lily's sister, not as the quiet one, just Gabriella. After school, I'd tie my hair up, scrub pans, and wipe tables until closing. Then I'd walk home under streetlights and finish my homework at a desk that faced the wall. No one asked where I'd been. As long as Lily was resting, I was invisible, and that suited everyone just fine. I kept the bakery job until I graduated. By then, I'd saved enough to buy a used laptop and apply to colleges on my own. I didn't tell my parents. I filled out every form during my breaks, sitting on flour-dusted stools in the back room of Sugar Pines. Mrs. Lorraine proofread my essays between piping eclairs. When I got the full-ride scholarship to Northwestern, I told Mom over dinner she was slicing strawberries for Lily. She didn't look up. "That's good," she said. "Just don't stress your sister out. She's sensitive these days." I folded the acceptance letter and tucked it back into my pocket. That was the last time I shared anything important. At Northwestern, I studied art history. It started as a quiet rebellion. No one in my family understood why I'd care about antique jewelry or 18th century portraiture. But I did. Deeply. I remembered afternoons at Grandma's house holding up old brooches to the light, wondering who wore them, what they meant. Those memories turned into muscle. I interned at a tiny appraisal firm in Chicago. No pay, just opportunity. I cataloged costume jewelry, polished vintage watches, spent nights researching makers' marks from forgotten ateliers. One day, I picked up a brooch labeled faux enamel. Something about it didn't sit right, the craftsmanship was too delicate. I stayed late, cross-checking archives, poring over design registries, until I found it a genuine piece from a lost French workshop destroyed in World War I. It sold at auction for over $40,000. My name was listed on the internal report. Gabriella Tran. Authentication lead. No fanfare, no applause, just a line in an email. But it meant everything. I started getting more pieces. An enamel necklace mislisted as a replica turned out to be a Russian original. A platinum ring, thought to be costume jewelry, was traced back to a Boston legacy estate. My supervisor invited me to lunch, sliced her tart, looked me in the eye, and said, "Gabriella, ever think about going solo?" I laughed. Me, I eat instant noodles and sleep in a studio apartment. She tilted her head. Exactly. The hungry ones find what others miss. That night I opened the notebook Grandma left me. On the first page she'd written, "It's not the rare item. It's the girl who sees it as treasure." I started Aurum and Iris. 6 months later, from a second-hand desk, above an Italian cafe, I used her handwriting as the first logo. No one knew, not even Lily. They still thought I worked some antique side hustle, still called during Sunday dinners to talk about her internships and hobbies. I let them. I didn't need them to know, but I promised myself. If they ever asked, truly asked, I would tell them. They never did. I didn't plan on hosting Thanksgiving that year. Truth was, I'd already booked a trip. A few quiet days at a lakeside inn up north. No cell service, no expectations. But then Mom called. Her voice sounded weaker than usual. "I haven't been feeling well," she said. "No one's really up to cooking. Everyone's still expecting the holiday. You know how it is," I did. The guilt was practiced. So was the silence behind it. "I'll take care of it," I said. I didn't tell her. I'd already hired a catering team from Chicago, the same one I used for my company's auction clients. I didn't mention the custom-designed menu, the professional table setting, the portable ovens they'd wheel in like a backstage crew. The morning of, I arrived early, directed the team, set the table with white linens and gold-trimmed plates. Everything was precise, quiet, controlled. That is until Lily found my laptop. $12 million. She said it like a punchline, like she'd uncovered a scandal in a soap opera. She laughed. No one else did. The fallout was immediate. My parents stared, blinking, trying to stitch together a story that fit the version of me they'd always held on to. "Gabriella," Mom said, smiling too hard. "Why didn't you ever mention this?" I kept my voice level because no one ever asked. My father leaned back, eyes narrowing. "We thought you were still figuring things out, all those years you missed. Christmas skipped birthdays. We assumed you were struggling." "I wasn't," I said. "I was building something." "Wait," Lily said, eyes flashing. "You've been sending them money." "For me?" I nodded. $7,000 a month. For 2 years. Her face turned pale. "You never told me. You never asked." Dad pushed his plate away. You had that kind of money and never thought to help us earlier. We're still in debt from her last program. This wasn't a secret, I said. Just private. Mom's voice sharpened. Private, Gabriella. We're your family. I looked around the table. Exactly. The silence stretched. Then came the pivot. You know, Dad said, clearing his throat, Lily's been thinking of starting her own business, interior design. She's got great taste, always has. Maybe now's a good time to invest in the future. Mom chimed in too quickly. Just until she gets on her feet. You could set up something simple, a small fund. Maybe. I felt it then, the shift. This wasn't about celebration. It never was. It was a transaction. They saw the number and now they saw leverage. Lily folded her arms. You're acting like this money doesn't affect us, but it does. We're family. We should be in this together. You weren't with me, I said quietly. Not when I worked every holiday. Not when I built this. Not when I was sleeping 4 hours a night trying to survive in a windowless office. You didn't tell us, Lily snapped. You didn't ask, I repeated. She stood, voice rising. You can't just sit there with $12 million and act like we don't matter. I stayed seated. I've already done more than you know. So do more, she said, like it was obvious. I stood then. Not fast, not angry, just tired. I've canceled the transfers, I said, starting this month. The words landed like plates shattering. What? Mom's voice cracked. Gabriella, don't be dramatic. Your father and I were counting on that money. Lily hasn't even finished school. Then it's time she figures it out. You think this is fair? Lily cried. You're punishing us because you're bitter, because you never got attention. I didn't answer. I reached for my purse, pulled out my phone, typed a few things, confirmed it. You're really doing this? Dad asked, rising now. After everything we've done for you. I met his eyes. What exactly did you do? He went silent. Family, he said finally, means helping each other. I nodded. It does. But it doesn't mean being used. I picked up my coat, the same gray wool one I wore when I started the business. No one moved. No one said goodbye. At the door, I turned back one last time. If love comes with a balance sheet, it's not love. Then I left. By the time I got home that night, my phone had over 50 messages. The first one was from Mom. We need to talk. Lily's devastated, you're tearing this family apart. The second from Lily. I can't believe you after everything I've been through. You'd rather hoard your money than help your own sister. Then came the calls. The voicemails. The sudden uptick in friend requests from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. I turned off my phone and left it face down on the counter. The next day, my company's general inbox started receiving emails. Vague, anonymous, condescending. Things like, must be nice to pretend you're self-made. Don't forget where you came from. Some were just screenshots of Lily's new social media post. It was a black and white collage. Me holding her as a baby. Me at her high school graduation. Me smiling at her 17th birthday dinner. The caption read, Not everyone with money has a heart. Some people forget the family that raised them. The comments split. Half echoed her outrage, calling me cold, selfish, ungrateful. The other half asked questions she didn't answer. Didn't her sister pay for your tuition? Didn't Gabriella host every Thanksgiving while you traveled? You changed your major 5 times. Who paid for all that? I said nothing. Not online, not in private. But I made one phone call. Marcus, my attorney. We'd worked together on past contracts and art recovery cases. He didn't ask for details. He just listened. Do you want to shut it all down? He asked. Yes, I said. Financially, legally. Everything. By the end of the week, Cease and desist letters were sent to every family member who'd contacted me directly or indirectly. My assistant flagged IPs. My receptionist was instructed to deny any walk-ins without an appointment, even family, especially family. It wasn't personal. It was policy. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't managing emotions. I was protecting peace. I changed all my numbers. Personal lines, office extensions, even my emergency contact at the museum. Everything was rerouted. I signed a lease on a new office, glass-fronted, nestled between a Scandinavian bookstore and a small design studio. My name was etched into the door in gold foil, Aurum and Iris. Below it, smaller, private appointments only. I moved into a quiet house on the edge of Lake Manad, mid-century. Style minimal, secure. A soft leather chair by the window. A vault for heirloom collections in the basement. Grandma was the only one who knew the new address. When she arrived, she brought a suitcase, a tin of butter cookies, and that look, the one that always said, "Took you long enough, sweetheart." We sat together in the evening sorting gemstones by lamplight. She still wore her sky blue cardigan, even when the heater made the room too warm. One night she said, "You know what I'm most proud of?" I shook my head. "You didn't change just to please anyone. You held the line that stayed with me, because for so long I thought silence was survival. But really, it was the foundation I built everything on." One morning, I received an invitation to speak in Paris, a conference on historical jewelry preservation. I didn't hesitate. I went under my real name with the company I built, wearing the white gold ring Grandma.
Gabriella's story isn't just about money, it's about worth and who gets to define it. It's about learning that silence can be power, but only when you choose when to speak. Sometimes the loudest rebellion isn't a fight. It's a woman quietly walking away, not to punish but to protect what she's built. Not every family earns the right to stay in your story, and that's okay. Let us know in the comments, have you ever had to walk away to finally be seen? We're listening. And if this story spoke to you, stay with us. There are more voices waiting to be heard.